This presentation was recorded at MVCConf. For more content like this, go to www.mvcconf.com. JetBrains, the leading vendor of professional development tools, now offers a range of new products for .NET developers. In addition to ReSharper, the top-class productivity extension for Visual Studio, you can now use .cover to run coverage analysis for your applications, .trace to find performance bottlenecks, and use TeamCity and UTrack for a perfect combination of continuous integration and issue tracking software. Go to www.jetbrains.com for more information.
All right. Hey, everyone. This is Javier Lozano. I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time out of your day to come to MVCConf. I hope you've learned a lot. The man, the legend, talking about, I don't know. What are you going to talk about, Scott?
I'll talk about Legos. I was thinking about some of the things that Microsoft has been doing right and some of the things that Microsoft has been doing wrong. And I bought a bunch of Legos for the boys. So lately, for some reason, I've been putting everything in Lego terms. The general idea, of course, you may have seen this before. This is my dream job slide when I went to work for Microsoft. The general concept was that if people are going to pay me to do something that I'm pretty good at and I like doing it, that it would be good. So if you think about the kind of work that my kids do, the Legos, this is their dream job. Stuff that they love to do. I'll give them an allowance to do it, and they're good at it. This is really the developer is trying to find that sweet spot in all things. A Venn diagram. Now, I work for Microsoft, of course, apologize. And working for Microsoft has its benefits and its detriments. Of course, people don't trust you by default. But at the same time, you can potentially get some things done. And one of the reasons that I work for Microsoft, and I think Phil Hack works for Microsoft, and various people that you know, was that we want to try to make things better. We want to help developers find their happy state. So what is that happy state? Well, it's a balance between pragmatism and purity. Most devs know what they're looking for. They want to get stuff done. They want to enjoy writing the code that they're writing. They want to have a good time. They want to be able to live with themselves. They want to write code that they feel good about. If possible, it'd be nice if they felt good about Microsoft. But they want the Lego pieces to be the right size. I watch my boys getting frustrated when they try to fit the giant Lego piece that the toddlers use with the little tiny piece that you only use on the fire truck. Getting those pieces to go together makes their Lego building experience bad. It makes them frustrated. I've always thought that was kind of a strange design. I think that if I have an idea in my head, the idea is that I want to solve this problem, I want to build something. My son is like, I want to build a helicopter. He knows what he wants it to look like. He can visualize it. He just needs the tools to make that happen. So he'll visualize that helicopter. He'll get this sense. And the idea that he has is usually a lot more impressive than how it typically turns out. The question is, though, is it because he's missing the tools that he needs? He decides that he wants to build this amazing helicopter from Avatar. And he sits down and he looks at the tools, but inevitably it ends up looking like this. And this has been the way that I personally felt about some Microsoft tools in the past. The tools, the size of the Legos are wrong. You might, then you get really sad. You get incredibly depressed about these tools not fitting. And this can drive you away from Microsoft, the open source community, from wherever, and you might go off and do something else. Might even drive you to drink. I don't know. But the idea, though, is that if the Lego pieces are the right size, then everything starts to fall together. And I feel like in the last year or two, we at Microsoft and we in the community have gotten to the point where we have right-sided Lego pieces. Okay? Like in the past, you might have like SharePoint. And it's like, SharePoint, this is like the toddler thing. And SharePoint has really big Lego pieces. You can do this, and that's it. Or you can do that, and that's it. So I pick SharePoint, I'm going to have some inherent limitations. Now, this is just one example. It could be SharePoint, it could be I don't know, whatever. But then I might go and pick WCF or something like this. And it's like, whoa, this is way too super expert. Actually, I remember having this kit in 1978. Way more detail. Maybe this is WCF. And then how do I integrate the two? You know, someone gave me these pieces. I want SharePoint to work with WCF, or I want OData to work with WinForms, and or BizTalk to integrate with patterns and practices bricks. And because there was a mismatch, an impedance mismatch between the sizes of the bricks, things didn't feel right. And I think that a number of people at Microsoft started to question things, and I think that we as a community can make things better by questioning them. And I think that people like Phil and Scott Gu and people in the alt.net space, people in open source and Hibernate, all these different groups have started to question the status quo. Because when you go out into the community, you have to ask yourself, well, who do I ask for help? Who's going to assist me? You know, I could go and I could start just dragging data grids to get my stuff done, but that's part of the masses. That's what the masses are doing. Just as we try to find that balance between purity and pragmatism, we try to find that balance between, you know, following the masses and maybe doing what Microsoft says and drag that data grid and make that Northwind database. Or maybe I want to ask some of the guys at the local user group. Maybe these guys, you know, but they may be a little bit scary, a little bit overwhelming. How do you decide what correct looks like for you when you've got a Microsoft guy dragging a data grid on stage and you've got another guy that you respect in your company or maybe in your user group who's telling you to do it an entirely different way? It can be very, very confusing. And again, you've got Lego pieces, or you could ask these people. This is a little creepy, but they might also have the answer. All of this causes a lot of stress. All of this is overwhelming, and I think that it makes not only new people frustrated and not want to even play. It discourages them. I think that it also frustrates old timers. I think we all feel that there's a lot of frustration in the community right now. Some of that frustration is with the tools, some of it's with Microsoft. We need to continue to strive. We, not Microsoft, us, you know, the community, to encourage everyone to make pieces that fit together nicely. You don't want to have to ask yourself, how good do I have to be? Do I have to be Superman to do conversion control? Do I have to be a complete expert at these things? It's really stressful. How smart does someone have to be to pick up structure map or to pick up WPF? Do you have to be Stephen Hawking? And then all the while, Scott Gu is looming over us, telling us what to do to use the new hot stuff. I personally ask myself, what would Neil Patrick Harris do? What would Doogie Howser do in this situation? Actually, this is not a Lego slide. Let me fix that for a second. There we go. That's much better. What would Neil Patrick Harris do? So I start digging in. I want to dig in and find out what's going on. What are the internals of these Legos? What's going on inside the software? That's how I learn. I read as much as I can. And I noticed that there's been a lot of cool software coming out lately. There's been a lot of cool software. There's not just what's going on with MVC, but there's Map, there's Orchard, there's OData, there's libraries for OData in a dozen different languages. There's recent discussion of IIS Express. IIS Express being a full version of IIS that doesn't have to run as an administrator and that doesn't run as a service. You've got the Razor View engine. You've got SQL Compact Edition. You've got NV Framework, Code First Magic Unicorn Edition, September CTPR2. Serverless Toolkit, Media Framework, a lot of open source stuff is coming out right now. And what do these things have in common? These things are rightly sized. They're correctly sized. The Lego pieces fit together well. Even SharePoint, the big Duplo pieces for 2-year-olds, has OData endpoints for every single page. Every single library, every single document library inside of SharePoint is an OData endpoint. These pieces, along with open source tools like MVC Turbine, MVC Contrib, NHibernate, RavenDB, all the great stuff the community is doing, suddenly fits together better than ever, I feel. And that's one of the reasons that I'm still at Microsoft and I'm kind of excited about still working here. Let me make this a little bit more metro. I noticed that title up there was looking a little bit too cheesy, so I'll make it look a little more Windows mobile phone. As with all things, you need to find balance. And this is a really great chart from a place called Index that talks about adherence to the rules varies with experience. People who are beginners typically don't adhere to the rules at all. People who are extremely experienced don't adhere to the rules. But you want to find balance and use the pieces that make you happy. So what can you do? What can we do in the community? This is my opinion. This is not Microsoft's opinion. I know I work with the man, but I love the community a great deal, and I like hanging out with you guys. And I love the positivity that our community has. And I think that we need to get back to basics. We need to get back to the right size Legos. We need to read more code. Encourage new people. If you're mentoring someone, if you have people that you work with at work, have a brown bag, teach them, read code. Help open source projects. I think there's a whole lot of people out there demanding a lot of open source people, and they don't do much. You don't necessarily have to commit code. You can write documentation, you can help with websites, you can promote, you can write samples, you can write tests. Help open source projects. Nerdinner, for example, is an incredibly basic, incredibly cheesy application with 2 tables. It's a sample at best. And I've had like 3 people give patches. And that's amazing for a project that's been downloaded like almost 100,000 times. For smaller open source projects, I can't imagine how frustrating that must be. Help open source projects and encourage Microsoft to do the right thing. Reach out to your local Microsoft guy, reach out to the PMs that are on projects, talk to Phil, talk to Palermo, talk to anyone out there who's working on some open source thing and is encouraging Microsoft to do the right thing. Microsoft's big. We may be big and sloppy and stupid, but we're not necessarily completely evil. If we were evil, truly evil, I wouldn't work there. I think that we're starting to put out Lego pieces that are the right size. So we need to encourage Microsoft, we need to encourage the community, and use the right size Legos. A lot of people talk about using, making projects that encourage best practices. I come out with Nerdin and they say it's too simple. John comes out with MVC Music Store and they say it's not complicated enough. These are decisions that you ultimately have to make for yourself. But the fact that the discussion is happening, we need to feel really good about. The fact that you have the power to go out and make these things happen is really important. You want to find your happy state. You want to have working code that you feel good about, that you can live with, that you're not going to go to sleep and say, oh my goodness, I can't believe I wrote that. This is a big problem. You, as a community, are powerful. You have the ability to go and make these things happen. Whether you've got a lot of followers on Twitter or no followers on Twitter, whether you've got a blog or no blog, you can put code out there. Because as Linus says, talk is cheap, show me the code. If there's something that you don't like or best practice that you don't think is being represented, you are equally as powerful as Microsoft in that you can put that sample out there and you can spread the word about that. This is the most important slide, I think, is that what your job description says is definitely not what you can do, whether you work for Microsoft or whether you're in the community. And I think one of the most exciting things that I see when I see my boys playing with Legos is when one of their friends tells them that they can't do something. Oh, you can't build that tower, it's too big, or you can't make that helicopter, it's not going to happen, it's too complicated. And then they find that they can do it, they find that they can build it. So encourage the community, encourage your friends, encourage your peers to go out there and make some art. Make some art. Use Lego pieces that make you happy. Maybe that's in Hibernate, maybe that's in a framework, maybe that's linked to SQL, God forbid, maybe it's data sets. If it makes you happy and you find that there's art there and there's an aesthetic, then I think you should do it. And that is my virtual keynote with virtual content, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott. This is perfect. I think it kind of ties up all what MVC Conf and Community for MVC is all about. And there's nothing more that could be said. Oh, perfect. Perfect placement, Ed.
Yes. A little dive there.
Yes.
This presentation was recorded at MVC Conf. For more content like this, go to www.mvcconf.com.